Hey guys, it's Nina Zeta with Sidewalker Daily, and today I want to talk about Instagram engagement. This is a topic that creators are always coming to me with. My engagement is low. Should I reach out to brands? I don't want to reach out to brands until I get my engagement a little bit better. And I feel like engagement is this metric that has been drilled into us that is really, really important. And obviously it is, because it kind of shows if your audience is awake, what I like to say, or if you're able to really build community. But at the end of the day, when it comes to pitching brands, guys, it really depends if you're pitching your content or your influence. If you are pitching influence, you do need to work on that engagement, but not to the level that you're super stressed and scared. So I just wanted to start today's video saying that we're going to talk about how to increase your engagement in today's video, but I don't want it to be a reason that you don't send out pitches to brands or that you don't reach out to them out of fear that your engagement is too low. You never even know the brand's goals until you speak to them, okay? They may want to hire you to do a live with them or to go an in-person store, and they're not worried about your engagement rate, okay? So let's start with there. If you are a creator and you're new to our channel and you want to learn to work with brands, head over to this link. I host free trainings teaching you how to get paid brand deals. It's a really amazing training. Creators love it. It's always really fun, and it's live, and I'll be there teaching it. So let's talk about the first thing with engagement. Before we can even talk about engagement, we have to think about the role the algorithm plays in this whole hot mess, okay? When you are creating content on Instagram, there's different places you can create, right? And at the end of the day, you have probably limited time. You're like, I have reels, posts, stories, I can do lives. There are different places, right, on Instagram that you can be posting. But you have to think, if you are trying to grow your followers, right, then obviously you need to be posting on reels, because that is going to help bring in the follower, right? That shows your content to, what I say, strangers. And if those people like it and they feel connected to you, they're going to come back, check out your account, do a quick scan, and hit follow, especially if you're super, super niche and clear on your page. But when it comes to engagement is less about what type of post you do, but what you ask for in your community in that post. I always like to say to influencers, test your influence. What can you do to wake people up, right? And it's all about testing. So one of my biggest tips, and I do this in my own business, is when I find a piece of content that works, it's like when you hit oil, keep drilling, okay? This is one of the most helpful things for me personally. If we did a post and we're like, oh my gosh, this did well, whatever type of post it is, people responded, people liked it, people shared it, I see saves. Those are the metrics we need to be looking at, right? Saves and shares and comments, more than just likes. We need to really look at the insights of a post in total to see how it did. So what I do is I'll see a post that does really, really well, and then I'll talk to our team and I'm like, okay, how do we do this again? Do we recreate this post? How do we replicate this exact post in a different way? Obviously, because we can't post the same thing twice, but use the things, we actually study it. So the next time you have a piece of content that does really, really well, that is what you need to look into and ask yourself, why did it do well? And how can I do this again? So that's my first tip to drive engagement. I'm sure you've done stuff that has done well before. Go back there, start there. My second tip to drive engagement is obviously think about asking your audience to participate. So it feels really awkward at first. Sometimes I get on this channel and I'm like, and don't forget to subscribe. No, literally subscribe right now if you haven't, but you have to tell people. And I know it feels weird. And when I first started getting on YouTube, I was like, subscribe. And I was like, that's weird. Why am I telling people? But I realized the videos that I said subscribe to my channel, those tend to have more subscribes than videos I didn't say it. So don't be afraid on Instagram. Literally, if you're doing a reel or a post, at the end screen, say, follow for more tips on XYZ, or follow for more family fun, or click follow to see whatever. Again, it feels strange, but sometimes you just got to tell people what to do. That to me is a very important tip when it comes to increasing engagement, is being very clear with that call to action, but also sometimes just asking for it. Now, I think Instagram stories particularly makes it really easy to increase engagement. Obviously, every time I do an ask me anything, or I put a little sticker where, my audience can ask me questions, or I do polls, people like to play around. And what I find does really well with polls is not just one poll, it's like 6 in a row. Like, do you like this or that, this or that, this or that? And like people like to play around. And a lot of times it's because they want to see what other people responded to the poll. They want to see if they're like above or below. So rather than just doing one poll on Instagram stories, try like 5 or 6 back to back. Because then it becomes a game. It's not just a one-time shot. You're really getting people to engage with you throughout. Also, be fast to act. This is a major tip. And I find that when our team does this, we tend to like move fast on it. So it won't be part of our editorial calendar. It's not stuff that we planned in advance. It's stuff that we see it happening, it's trending, and we do it right away. So for example, creating a relatable meme, right? We just posted this the other day on Emily in Paris. We saw these memes going around. We made it relevant to our community and people loved it, right? People were like, oh, this is so cute. And we saw an increase in comments. So again, we couldn't have planned for this type of post. We had to think about it and do it that night or the day before because we saw that it was trending. The same thing, if you're trying to grow your engagement, maybe you're like want to use a trending song or a trending challenge or something, a dance, you can't wait for those things. You have to act fast. So sharing a relatable meme, that's obviously something that you would have to do fast because if it's trending, you don't want to miss the boat. Another tip is creating things using that intention of, is this shareable? Ask yourself when you're creating a piece of content, is this shareable? What makes something shareable? Is it relatable? Would you send it to a friend? Is there value in it? Right? So for example, we did a post on like creator affirmations. Affirmations creators should be saying. And I guess there was something about that style of post. Everyone was sharing it with each other or posting it to their own stories. It's not because it was valuable or tip driven. It's because it was relatable to people and it touched home. So we were intentional about it, but I want you guys too, when you're planning out your content, ask yourself, would you send this to someone else? Is this shareable? Like I had this girl the other day on fashion. She's a fashion stylist and her captions were just like Sunday brunch. Like no one's sending this. But if the caption was in depth, it says where the outfits are or where it's from, people then want to share it. Another tip I love on Instagram is straight up asking your audience for the type of content that they want. I saw a creator do this the other day. They're like, oh, I'm working on doing some content on XYZ. What are you guys interested in? And she did this on stories, but because she asked them ahead of time when the content was actually ready, it did well. Why? Because people were probably expecting it. And 2, they kind of voted for it. So use your stories also as an avenue for you to see if people are interested in the content so that you can then, actually create it rather than creating something you think people are going to be interested in and then they're actually not. Obviously, one of the best ways to drive engagement in general is making sure you lead with a question. So if you open up on Instagram, right, and you talk about a scenario and then you turn the ball and you say, okay, now you tell me about yours, or can now share with me a time that this happened to you. Not only are you using that storytelling technique, which is, drives authenticity, it makes you feel real, it makes you feel likable. People like honest and authentic people. When you use storytelling as a strategy to help you grow your engagement, people are listening, people feel like connected, and then you switch it on them and you ask them a question to make it relatable to themselves. That is also super important. Now, all these tips may help you drive engagement, but at the end of the day, if you are not engaging with your audience, responding to their comments, responding to their DMs, thanking them for participating, that number will slow down. If you also take time to respond to them, engage with them, you're going to see this number go up. Also, a big thing to consider is consistency when it comes to engagement. First of all, you never know which of your posts are going to do well just because of the algorithm. Like your people may not even be seeing your content, right? So don't be hard on yourself if you see that engagement isn't where you want it to be, but you have to just keep showing up. Just keep showing up. I had a creator the other day come on one of our calls. She was like, oh my God, it's been so hard. I post all the time. I post daily, nothing, crickets. My content's been doing bad. But I didn't stop. I kept going. I had a reel. It took off. It got, crazy amount of views, crazy amount of followers, and it drove up my engagement on all my other posts. So just sometimes take that one video tip, lift off to help drive visibility to your other content. So my biggest takeaway is don't give up, keep going, stick with it, be consistent, and you're gonna see results. And if you are a creator that is looking for help, make sure to take a look at our courses. We have a variety of different types of courses on engagement. We have courses on Instagram Reels, and of course on how to pitch to brands, which is our signature thing here at Sidewalker Daily. So if you are a creator that is pitching, check that out, and I will see you guys in our next video.